So 6 former race soldiers from Mississippi who violated 2 black men for more than an hour during the home raid pleaded guilty to federal civil rights charges. They said the Justice Department believes, they said there's evidence to show excessive force, including shocking incident. They said where one of the race soldiers allegedly shot one of the men in the mouth in a mock execution gone awry. It said the federal indictment shows that deputies forced a dildo in the men's mouths and attempted to sodomize one of the men with it. Let me tell y'all something. When we told y'all that the majority of these people have some sort of LGBT tendencies, and they have, listen, tell you something, these white supremacists is obsessed with black men's sexuality. They're obsessed with black men's, private parts. They're obsessed with it. Listen, they're the only weak men in the world that will sit up there and want to watch their wives lay down with a black man in front of them. No other group of men I know would do something like that. Definitely not the black man, for sure. But they are sick and depraved. This all they thinking about is black men. What that one video I did on this channel, when the white woman said that her men is more worried about BBC than even the white women are. And we know that to be true based off of just the history. So they say the charges against the 5 race soldiers from Rankin County, they say, and another one, they say were unsealed in court on Thursday, August the 3rd. They say the defendants, they say made their appearance before a magistrate, and later in the morning they appeared before U.S. District Judge Tom Lee, he said, who took their guilty pleas. They continue to say we wanted justice. They say, and we were walking in the pages of the justice in this hour. It says attorney for the victims, Malik Shabazz, during a press conference. It said the names of the former race soldiers charged, they say, are Hunter Elward, Christian Dedman, they said Brett McAlpin, Jeffrey Middleton, and Daniel Opdyke. They say, and former Richland K-9 race soldier Joshua Hartfield. They are facing over a dozen counts. They say the men all were white. They say were charged with conspiracy against rights. They say deprivation, they say, of rights under the court of law. They say conspiracy to obstruct justice and obstruction of justice. But none of this had to do with any violation, it's just those charges. And they said Dedman and Elwood are facing additional charges of using, carrying, or brandishing a firearm during the act of violence, which carries a potential life sentence. It said they came into court shackled and bound. It said a far cry from the arrogance, the laughing, and mockery. It said the heinous race soldiers did to the brothers on January 24th. So according to the incident, on January 24th, Michael Corey Jenkins and Eddie Terrell Parker, both black men, they say at a residence in Braxton, say when deputies barged into the premises without a warrant, Jenkins and Parker had come to the attention of the self-styled goon squad deputy group because of a white neighbor had called McAlpin to complain that the black men were living with a white woman who owned the residence. After an unauthorized entry, it said deputies turned off their body cameras, said allegedly placing them in handcuffs, stunning Parker and Jenkins with tasers dozens of times, and poured milk, alcohol, and syrup on their mouths and faces. Now, these race soldiers continued during the about hour-and-a-half encounter. They assaulted the men, they say, with a white flesh-colored dildos. Dedman attempted to force a dildo into Jenkins' buttocks, to say, but he stopped after he saw the man defecated on himself. They say the incident reached its climax, say, when one of the deputies allegedly placed a gun inside Jenkins' mouth, pulled the trigger, and shot him. The document claims. They say the man would undergo surgery to have his tongue removed. Oh my God. So he lost his tongue behind this demon. They say after the abuse, the deputies forced the men to strip naked and shower together. Like they was LGBT. That was straight up buck breaking what they were doing. Straight up. Everything with them. I told you them people, you remember that other police video where you got one of them race soldiers up there talking about trying to pat down and search a black man, and then he's fondling him. He's fondling him and then trying to put his finger in his rectum. And he did it in front of everybody. Everybody said, hey, what the hell are you doing? You know, like I said, they are just straight up LGBT predators. They're saying in February of 2023, said the Justice Department initiated a civil rights investigation based on Jenkins and Parker's allegations. In June 2023, the two also hired lawyers and filed a federal lawsuit against Rankin County seeking $400 million in damages. The Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey said the deputies all been fired. It would later disclose that Hartfield was the 6th law enforcement officer involved in the raid. During the incident, he was off duty. He was subsequently dismissed from the position because he decided to participate in the abuse of 2 men. The prosecutors had advised the court to hold the defendants in custody until their sentencing in November, which could bring terms as long as 120 years in prison plus life for some in the group. It said the state also announced charges against the group on Thursday, and all 6 are slated to plead guilty to those charges on August the 14th. So it looked like that with this case, they moved pretty quick, but my thing is the brother lost his tongue behind these demons. My Lord, man. Just because you saying that, oh, he lived with a white woman, see, and people from Mississippi, you tell me, because I never had much of a desire to go to that state. Not to say I won't go, but I just have never had much of a desire to. But can you tell me how, with that state having the most black people in it than any other state in the country, how do y'all have the most vile white supremacists there doing all the things they're doing? Because let's say a state like Texas, black people, we aren't the majority of Houston. We are a good percentage of it, but we don't have issues that are going on like that. Dallas, I mean, they don't have issues. The major cities, and maybe it's these little small, jackleg towns. Because I'm a firm believer. I don't like small towns because small towns equal small mentality. That's what I've seen over time. And small towns are these white supremacists. Now, you got your bigger cities like Jackson, not to say things will happen in Jackson, okay? A lot of things happen there too, but it's not, I don't hear the stories coming out of Jackson like I hear all these other little small towns in Mississippi. So any brothers and sisters that live there right now that could articulate that, like, how is it that these white supremacists have such a stronghold on that state and doing the things they're doing? Yeah, let me know, because I'm definitely won't want that particular education for sure. Because I know Mississippi, Alabama was always a hotbed for white supremacists, historically. But today, we got the camera phones, we got all this stuff, and none of this stuff be caught. That's what I'm just curious about. Y'all need to record, post this stuff online, and let the people do their work. If y'all can't do it, let us do it. But let me know what y'all think about this situation here. Like I said, for the brother to lose his tongue, like I said, man, that's just so sad what happened to them.